Arctic Star Exploration, operated by a team of proven mine finders, is focused on diamonds in Finland and the Northwest Territories of Canada. Work programs are underway in Finland and Canada. Arctic Star trades on the TSX Venture Exchange symbol ADD, on Frankfurt symbol 82A1, and the OTCQB symbol ASDZF. Please visit our website arcticstar.ca or call us at 604-689-1799.
Welcome to the Goddard Report. Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Jordan Bateman, Vice President of Communications and Marketing for the Independent Contractors and Business Association. Welcome back to the show, Jordan.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
Jordan, BC has made some changes to employment standards and the labor code. What's the reaction from your association?
Well, it's been quite a week here for the ICBA as we deal with major reforms to the Employers Act. On Monday, the minister brought down some employment standards changes, and then on Tuesday they brought down labor code changes. Taken individually, none of them, none of the little pieces here and there would be, huge deal breakers, but put all together, you're talking about a bunch of changes that will make it very difficult for employers. Really, it stacks the deck against employers in how they're going to have to deal with these issues.
Mm-hmm. So, specifically, what's the biggest bugaboo?
Well, let's take the labor code first, since that came out on Tuesday. So, the big win for ICBA and frankly for workers is the fact that the NDP did not strip the secret ballot in union certification votes. Essentially, if you workers are deciding to become a union, the unions want to move to a card check system where they basically sign a petition, and if you get 50% of the people on a work site to sign it, then they're automatically become a union. BC though has a two-step thing. You have to get 40% of people to sign that petition, and then you go 10 days later to a vote, and it's done by secret ballot, so neither side can rig or whip the vote to do it. NDP dogma, the deep NDP ideology is to get rid of that card check, or get rid of secret ballot and go back to card check, because they want to make it as easy as possible for people to unionize, and they want to basically punish employers. There's this kind of sense in the NDP that that no employer is a good employer, therefore every employee needs to have a union in order to be fully protected. Of course, that's nonsense. It's 1930s, 40s thinking. We've come a long way in the employment sector. Anyways, all that to say, God bless him, Andrew Weaver, who we've disagreed with on many issues, he held the line, told the NDP he wouldn't support getting rid of the secret ballot, that he considered it a fundamental democratic right of workers. He was good to his word, and between the Greens and the Liberals, the NDP wouldn't have enough votes to change it, so they're keeping that secret ballot. Where it gets a little bit tricky is in a few other spots. So, the NDP, in order to try to make it up to their union allies, said, okay, well, we can't give you secret ballot, but we'll shorten the period between signing up for a union and voting on it from 10 days to 5 working days. The idea there is they want to curtail the employer's ability to communicate with workers during that certification vote. They're also going to increase fines for employers under the labor code, not doubling them, not tripling them, not quadrupling them, but quintupling them. I'm not sure why they decided that those fines need to be increased by 5 times, but that's what Harry Baines, the Minister of Labour, has decided to do. And then they'll open up for more union-to-union raids, which is a way for the more traditional unions to try to get at the progressive unions like CLAC and the Canada West Construction Union, groups they hate because they don't feel that they're part of that traditional labor movement. So those are the kind of the high-level points from the labor code. It's a big win for ICBA on the secret ballot, but basically everything else became a little bit more union-friendly.
Now, they upped the age that a person can work at unless you're in the acting business. Was that a good move on their part?
Yeah, so the day before they did the labor code, they did what was called the Employment Standards Act. And they came out with this stat, and it sounded terrible at the time. WorkSafe BC had paid out $5 million to people under the age of 16 for various workplace injuries. Well, that sounds like a lot of money, but then you actually get the stats, and it's $5 million over 10 years. And $2.2 million of that dollars were in year 1 and 2 of those 10 years. So in the past 8 years, it's actually only been about $2.5 million paid out to young workers. Look, young workers should be protected. We shouldn't be having to pay out anything. But, that does kind of change the context of just how much is going on. Essentially, the NDP has said if you're under 16, you should be working anything except quote-unquote light duties. As the parent of a 15-year-old who's making a fortune busting tables at a little bistro in Fort Langley, I'm desperately hoping that is included in these so-called light duties, because she's making good money and enjoying herself and been a productive worker. But they also changed the rules for kids aged 16 to 18, saying, really making clear that they're going to restrict what they consider to be dangerous work. And they specifically cited construction as one of those outlets. So I'm not sure how that's going to square with the idea that they're trying to have 17-year-olds do practicums and actually get school credits for doing some of their apprenticeship early. But we wait and see what they come up with.
We'll have more with Jordan right after this.
Bateman Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia, Saskatchewan, and the Yukon. Trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the pink symbol ABN-AF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Bateman's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at batemanresources.com.
Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, recycling trade publications, patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Jordan Bateman. Jordan, high gasoline, high fuel prices in general in the Lower Mainland and across BC. How is that hammering BC business?
Oh, it is a critical threat to BC business. Listen, taxes are now up to about 55 cents per liter on gasoline in the Lower Mainland. Prices around $1.70, as much as $1.75, maybe going higher if the threats from Alberta pan out. You cannot misstate how pricey that is for people who have to move goods and services around this region. In fact, I was in a meeting today with an ICBA member, and we were talking about our ICBA membership program, and one of the things we have is a fleet discount with Esso. And if you buy gas through this particular program and sign up right now, you can get 5 cents a liter back. And they were like, wow, 5 cents a liter, that's fantastic. Right now we're only getting 2 cents through this other program. And it just goes to show you how tight the margins are and how desperate people are to try to save money in the business sector when, a 3 cent per liter difference will be enough to get them to do all this paperwork and change over all their fleet cards and do all of that. It's underreported. I mean, it's a pain for drivers and commuters. It's a pain for those of us who drive kids around for sports and stuff like that. But for people who rely on work trucks to get around, who are big consumers of gasoline, it's even worse. And frankly, I think it's going to start showing up in municipal budget crunches because municipalities often have huge fleets of vehicles. They're big purchasers of all kinds of energy, including gasoline. And in the end, all that trickles down to the public.
Should public services like municipalities and hospitals and so on, should they get a break at the pump?
No, gosh, why should they get a break for the pump and we don't get a break for the pump?
Well, I'm just thinking in terms of taxes, Jordan.
Yeah, we should all get a break at the pumps, let's face it. Listen, there's some easy tax things to go after. The federal government, after all the other taxes are included, charges 5% GST on a liter of gasoline. They're charging tax on tax. And why, provincial governments have not gone harder after them and said, look, still collect your 5%, but only collect it on the actual raw price of the gasoline. Don't collect a tax on tax. I don't know why premiers are so reluctant to bring that up with the Prime Minister. To me, that's an easy way to try to push back and put some pressure on a federal government that seems tone deaf on this issue. Provincial government, they should immediately scrap future carbon tax hikes. They should look at rolling back the ones that they've already done, or giving a rebate based on the money that people are putting into that carbon tax, make it truly revenue neutral. There's lots of different options here. The problem is, the truth is, the government, i.e. John Horgan and Justin Trudeau, they philosophically want higher gas prices. The whole point of their carbon plans is to price us out of gas-guzzling vehicles, out of our cars, out of our trucks, and into transit and electric vehicles. This is their whole plan. They're at a pain point right now, and they don't like how the public are reacting to it, but that's the way it goes.
How are you going to move heavy goods in a Nissan Leaf?
Yeah, how are you going to get rebar on the SkyTrain? How are you going to put plumbing equipment on the 99B line? You're exactly right. Like, how are you going to take your carpenter tools on a bicycle? These are the obvious problems with what the NDP and the federal Liberals have proposed in their carbon plans and their climate change plans. They all sound great, but bluntly, the market's not there yet. There are people who are fortunate enough they can afford to buy an electric vehicle for everyday use. I do not recommend the Andrew Weaver advice, which was to refinance your house to buy an an electric vehicle. Do not do that. That is terrible financial planning by a guy who should not be throwing around dumb ideas so flippantly. But if you have a company, you just don't have the kind of vehicle options that if you have to transport tools and supplies and goods and what, you just don't have the same transportation options.
We'll have more with Jordan Bateman right after this.
Hi, I'm Douglas Mason, President and CEO of Rainy Mountain Royalty Corp., RMO, on the TSX Venture Exchange. Rainy Mountain Royalty Corp. is a Canadian-based mineral exploration project generator. The company currently holds multiple property interests in Ontario with joint venture partners and is seeking further joint venture partners for other drill-ready properties in our portfolio. For more information, please visit our website at rmroyalty.com or call me at 604-922-2030.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Jordan Bateman. Jordan, what's the situation right now with steel tariffs in Canada, and what have they done to the construction business in BC?
Well, we are at a critical point on this. So the trade tribunal that manages this on our behalf, they've said that these tariffs should be lifted. We're waiting for a decision from Cabinet. In fact, I think the decision from Cabinet, I'm just flipping through the pages on my desk right now, I think, Cabinet needs to decide by May 13th whether or not to keep or get rid of these tariffs. They have a Cabinet meeting next week, I believe on Wednesday, so we're hoping to hear then one way or the other. We need to get rid of these tariffs on importing steel. Look, I understand that we were trying to punish Donald Trump, but all we're doing is punishing ourselves by making it more expensive for us to get the rebar and the steel we need to build things in the province of British Columbia.
What are politicians going to catch on? A tariff is a tax on your own people. It doesn't punish the country who's exporting the stuff.
I do find it hilarious that, the same, wonderful Canadians who hate Donald Trump so much have recommended that the way to fight Donald Trump is to do exactly what Donald Trump does. That to me seems very perplexing and odd. You're exactly right. You're only punishing your own people. You're only making things here more expensive. It's not worthwhile. We should be finding different ways of dealing with the business policies from down south.
Is there a way with BC and Alberta to get along and stop this threats to turn off the taps, and BC to shut down Alberta's ability to ship their product to foreign markets?
Yeah, the way to fix that is pretty simple. John Horgan needs to put Canada first and not his own political future. Listen, he's fighting this pipeline for one reason only. The Green Party have said that if he doesn't do it, to the best of his ability, that they will remove him, cause his government to fall, and he'll lose his premiership. That is the only reason he's fighting this thing. You see in these press conferences where he's spinning around and around without a really good reason as to why on one hand he's fighting Alberta to send us more gasoline and fuel, and on the other hand, fighting Alberta to not send us more gasoline and oil and fuel. He's a real hypocrite on this file. There's no other way to put it. It's embarrassing as a British Columbian to see how he's proceeding. The vast majority of British Columbians support the pipeline, understand it's important for Canada's economic and energy independence and economic freedom, and wanted to get done. And instead, he's pandering to a very small base who just happen to have 3 seats in the legislature and who will turf him out at the first chance if he doesn't go along with it.
Jordan, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thanks for having me.
My guest has been Jordan Bateman, Vice President of Communications and Marketing for the Independent Contractors and Business Association. His website, icba.ca. If you have any questions for Jordan or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@howstreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. The Goddard Report is available online and mobile at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. The Goddard Report is a production of Howe Street Media Incorporated.